Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're looking to get funded, we've got a solution for you. Our partnered prop firm FX2 Funding helps traders get access to up to $200,000 in trading capital. FX2 Funding is not your average prop firm. We've chosen them as our partner because of their fair examination rules, their professional and available customer service, and they have an outstanding reputation in the prop firm space. Here's a quick look at their evaluation process. First, they don't have a time limit on their evaluations. That means that you can take your time when passing your evaluation. There's no pressure to rush your trading. Second, there is only one phase to pass in their evaluation before getting access to your funded account. Also, their evaluation fees are fairly priced and fully refundable upon passing. Once you're funded, you'll be able to keep up to 85% of your trading profits. Finally, a rule we know swing traders will love: you can hold your positions over the weekend. For a limited time, get 15% off any of their account challenges with promo code A1Trading15. That's 15% off any account challenge with code A1Trading15. If you're ready to get funded, we're dropping a link in the chat right now, and you can also find it in the description down below. So go ahead and get signed up today for 15% off with promo code A1Trading15. Now, back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another day on the live stream. What's up, James? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm still catching my breath from making that walk. I grabbed the wrong backpack this morning, so I made that walk 4 different times. For the people in the audience that don't know, we have to park a little bit far away getting to the office, and I'm like wiping sweat off my brow this morning. I'm thinking I don't even need to drink coffee because I don't want that hot in me. I'm trying to cool off right now.
You had that it's a morning exercise routine for you today.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so James, we're back in the markets. I've got this is my euro trade. Look at this, is kind of tragic what happened. I shorted this yesterday. And price came right on into this zone that I liked. I sold it, and it looked like it was going to kind of come back, and it did come back, and it just barely wicked up, took me out here.
Wow.
And continued to go back. So
I didn't even notice that wick at first. That is tragic. I was thinking, okay, well, that seems pretty good so far, but where is your trade? I was looking for it. I see that now. I see that wick. That is tragic.
Yeah, I was thinking this level would hold, and sure enough, what happened instead is it did hold, but it went ahead and grabbed my stop loss just before it turned back. So sometimes this happens. It is an incredibly frustrating thing when it does happen, but what are you going to do? Sometimes it's just inevitable to happen to us occasionally in the markets. James, what is we don't have any news today other than maybe what happened in the UK this morning.
Yes.
What's the news update?
So we actually had some big news happening today in the UK. We had the Clement count change that came out at 0.9 thousand, which was way, way less than the 17.1 thousand that was forecasted. And in case you're wondering what exactly this news release is, it is the change in number of people claiming unemployment-related benefits during the previous month. So they had a massive drop. You can see this here, 7.3 thousand was their previous report. Massive drop in the number of people claiming unemployment-related benefits, which is going to be good for the UK's job market. The actual number here is actually good for the currency. So big report there out of UK, a big miss. But in the positive sense there for the pound. And then if we take just a quick look ahead, we have a little bit of more pound UK news happening tomorrow with their GDP numbers. So perhaps they'll keep it rolling with 2 good reports in a row. It is forecasted to drop down to negative 0.2% for that month, but we'll see if anything better than that forecast might have a positive impact on the pound. And of course, tomorrow we're going to have a pretty big day ourselves with CPI, get a look at the current inflation rate in the United States. currently forecasted to raise way up to 3.6%. I'm sure the Fed is not happy about that, but we will see what happens with that report tomorrow as well.
Yeah, for sure. Tomorrow being a big day with that CPI number, of course, probably one of the most anticipated numbers every month is, of course, right now, the CPI number. There were times in the past where CPI was not very exciting, barely moved the markets. But with everything that's gone on since COVID, it has become a very important figure for the markets. So thank you for that, James, on the update on UK stuff as well as what's coming. And we'll see you back later on the show.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Speaking of what James led us into, guys, with the pound stuff, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the pound USD, which after pulling it up, I just did a little bit of a chart markup here. It really looks pretty dang bearish right now. And as far as I know, the EDGEFINDER gives us a pretty strong bearish reading right now. Yep, we've got a -8 on the EDGEFINDER, which is a pretty significant bearish reading. Now, if you're newer to the show, the EDGEFINDER is A1 Trading's proprietary software. It's basically a software that takes into account a ton of data and creates a bias based on that data for various currency pairs and other charts, indices, gold, etc. So when looking at the pound here today, which is on the move due to the news this morning, generally speaking, I am still in the very bearish camp. Now, when I say very bearish, what I mean is, does that mean I'm just going to go short it? Not quite. What it means is that I am just, generally speaking, way more interested in sells when it comes to the pound than I am interested in buys. So for me, where are we at with this? Well, for me, what I'd be personally looking for is probably a continuation move and ideally a break through the lows, pullback opportunities, and then looking for continuations. So we're at this interesting spot on the chart here where we have, let's see. We have this really strong downward trend, as you can see by kind of this downward trend line that I've drawn. And then we have a level of support here that's pretty significant, right? You've got support right around the 1.2470 level. And we're just kind of at this point at the time of course, a streaming here. We're just sitting, kind of flat on that support level. What I would think would be interesting would be if price breaks out, that impulsive move could be met with, any signs of a pullback could be a great selling opportunity in my personal, plan and how I trade the markets. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about that Euro USD idea that I spoke about. This is a little bit painful for me. On the 4-hour chart, I took a short on the euro, and I kind of had a really tough time with this one, right? Because I took a short and I really liked this level. I don't think I did anything wrong, especially in my, my rules and strategy that I've, back tested. I know the trades I'm supposed to take. This is one of them, but sometimes this happens. Sometimes, a level comes into play that I know I'm supposed to sell according to my rules, and still maybe the stop was just a little bit tight. I was looking for, a relatively tight stop loss so that I could capture a decent risk reward. And, my second sell attempt was going to be up in here. So my point with saying that is that price came up, tagged me out, but it didn't keep going, which I may have taken a second trade should it have made it up to this 1.078 level. So, it's a bummer, but price is now trading back inside this range. Where am I at with the euro now? Well, two opportunities in my view would be either looking to try and sell this thing again with a little bit of a refined stop loss now with this new wick high. If price comes back up into this range, I'd be interested in selling it. But if it doesn't, here's another trade idea. If instead we break out lower and continue this downtrend, I actually like this one even more and might slightly size it a bigger trade if we were to break out through the lows. Now, you might say you would sell more of it lower, and the answer would be yes, because I would love to see this level breakout, similar to what we just said about the pound USD. If we can break through the lows, that would show me that sellers are very, very strong. So any pullback would be, in my view, a nice selling opportunity to look to kind of trade that kind of downtrend. So I also want to add to it, I'm very, very bearish on the euro because it is giving us a -10 reading on the EDGEFINDER. Now, what that means, let's pull this chart up so we can kind of clarify this. A -10 reading means that pretty much everything on the EDGEFINDER is pointing bearish on this chart. So let's see, we'll let this load. Sorry, the EDGEFINDER, I just pulled it up, so it takes a minute to kind of warm up. Yeah, so anyways, the point is Euro USD, I do like it on the short side, either for a breakout and retest or perhaps a pullback up into this range again. So that's where I'm at with it. Take a quick look at the indices while we're waiting here. NAS100 making a push up, S&P 500 making a push up. Gold and silver this morning took a beating. I know Frank is short on the gold market, so that's good for him. Oh, I'm not sure what's happening with our COT data. Our COT data looks like it's being repaired right now. The point is, or worked on right now. The point is, we're getting a really strong bearish reading from the EDGEFINDER. This is taking into account lots of different figures like seasonality. Take a look at seasonality, right? The seasonal expectation for the euro in September is to decline, which is pretty interesting, right? So September, we're expecting more bearishness for the euro. Seasonal trends, that's one thing. Trend reading, right? We have a strong downward trend. GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates all favor currently the US over the European area. So when we compare all of these different metrics, we're getting a nice bias to the downside for the euro. And so I like that quite a bit. I also know Frank is short on gold. Let me confirm that before let me just check. Yes, Frank sold gold yesterday in the VIP. He risked 1,477 pips, which sounds like a lot, but when you look at gold, it's not that crazy. Gold moves so many pips per day. Anyways, he is now currently in that trade, and look at that trade. I'm jealous. Frank is catching on some huge winners right now. Look at that move. Traded that thing from up in the 1920s down into 1910 right now. That is a slick move, and I like this price action for gold. By the way, guys, let's just take a quick second. If you guys would like to see the trades that Frank and I are taking, Frank and I have traded together for 8 years now. We are co-collaborators on the A1 Trading's VIP group. If you guys are not already inside of the group, here's how you can join. We're going to drop a link in the chat right now. If you click this link, you'll be sent to a direct message center where you can chat with someone on our team to get more information about joining the Discord. So keep the stream up, but message us right now if you want to get access to the Discord. You can get access to Frank's trades, my trades, and we have also Ivan, who was on the stream yesterday. He does coaching webinars within the group, working with traders. So if you're struggling, if you're out there and you don't know quite what you're doing yet and you need some help, please consider joining us. I'm telling you, it is worth the fee to join us. It's a small fee relative to what the value is that you're going to get. And if you think about it, people just out there losing tons of money in the markets without any plan, without any education, without any chance to learn from people who have been doing it for a long time. Save yourself the money. I'm telling you, if you pay for a membership, it will be far more worth what you would have lost in the markets without properly educating yourself. It is worth it. I made that mistake when I got started. I thought, oh, I can just learn everything by myself without paying for anything. And it's you can do that, but it's going to take you a lot longer and you're going to lose a lot more money doing it that way. It is far worth putting yourself on a demo account, getting into a room like this and trading with real traders, learning real stuff, educating yourself, and then looking to potentially get in on the live markets. But I'm telling you, the savings that you will have from that are immense. It is so much better to go that route. And I made that mistake myself. That's why I'm telling you quite, honestly. So quick look at gold. For those of you guys watching gold, big breakdown here. And again, congrats to Frank. He's in this inside of the group. Anybody else who caught the sells with us, then congratulations. That's awesome. We had this range going on. And today we had the follow through breakout, which is exactly what we want from a sell like this. Frank caught the sells up in this area. And we are now, Frank is now locked in profit on his trade. So that's huge. Today, I'm in a great loss. Please get me recovered. Again, so many people, I'm not trying to pick on you or anything, but people who send these kinds of messages, please stop trading a live account. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have a plan, stop trading a live account. Go back to demo, practice, learn, watch videos if you want. Or if you're very serious, take a small investment, join a group like ours and get yourself educated. Quit messing around. It's not, I'm telling you, you're going to lose way more money just trading blindly, placing trades in the market without properly knowing what you're doing. It is not worth doing. Buy EURUSD. I'm pretty bearish on it. I'd sell retracements in my personal opinion, even though I had this trade previously, which did not work out very well for me. I'm looking for another opportunity to try Euro again. Guys, we're going to now bring it over to Frank and Tom, who are joining us on the show here in just a moment. But before we do bring them, we're just going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors. We'll be right back with Frank and Tom for more trading setups in just a moment. Be right back.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the EDGEFINDER or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, guys, and we are back now with Frank, who I mentioned just a moment ago, as well as Tom, who comes on each week from Simply Forex here on YouTube. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Yeah, morning, Nick. Morning, Frank. All good, thanks, guys. How was your anniversary, Nick? Nice.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
We did a lot of hiking, a lot of biking, got some exercise, and ate a lot of food too. So we had a great time. So yeah, and Tom, for those of you guys who are newer to the streams, if you haven't been here for a while, Tom comes on each week, sometimes more than once a week to weigh in, to add some commentary. He has his own YouTube channel, which you guys can check out if you'd like, Simply Forex on YouTube. But Tom, I want to kind of just jump into setups and ideas. What's on your radar here today?
Okay, so I really like the S&P right now. I think that's a nice long trade. We was buying the NASDAQ, but let me just show you why I prefer the S&P. So if we look at this is the day chart of the S&P. And if we look at the NASDAQ, it's just a case of room to move into. Yeah, so they're very similar trades. They followed very similar structure, and obviously they're highly correlated. But we've been in this uptrend. Yeah, and this area in here was a beautiful buy for the NASDAQ. But now we've had this bullish candle. There's not enough room to this last daily high. Yeah, so this is why I don't prefer the NASDAQ. And if we look at the S&P now, you can see the S&P is pretty much an identical trade. Yeah, we've got this uptrend that we're in. I love this area. Not only is it a horizontal area of support, but we've also got the moving average 20 as well. And, like the NASDAQ, we've got that bullish candle. But more importantly, with the S&P, we've got this room to move into back up to these highs. And you can see my target is this 4516. And then that's what I'm looking for on the day chart. And then I'll just drop down to areas that I'm interested in on the lower time frames. And, this is having a lovely reaction on the H4 as we speak. So again, just following price action, guys. The price was in a downtrend, and then as soon as it breaks all of these highs in here, it's in an uptrend. Yeah, and we get a retrace back down to this gray zone. What was once resistance becomes excellent support. Trade this pattern. Yeah, it's the nicest pattern. And we're getting a nice bullish reaction. So, you know, if it stays like this, we'll be looking to enter and take price back up to here, you know, perhaps put our stop down here, you know, and get a nice-ish risk to reward on the S&P. So, yeah, really like this S&P trade right now.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And again, you've always have my attention with indices because they're my personal favorite things to trade. That and gold. And speaking of gold, Frank, if you want to take over for a second, you've got something to talk about, right? With the gold sell that you're in. This thing is tanking here as we speak.
Yeah, I entered a gold short yesterday, and well, that's the S&P, but I'm currently hovering in profit. I got my entry somewhere up here in the 1920s, I think, and then I trailed down below this sort of support level. I think it was 1950 is where I have an SL, and I'm just writing this out to see how much farther it will go. What ideally I would like to see it come down to the 1880s range, where this is a kind of a long-term level of support. But you know, it's just a very choppy market and just lots of ups and downs. And I feel like making more conservative stop losses and taking profit if it does decide to come back up, even if it's a small or short-term rally. But I'm also I thought it was funny Tom was talking about the S&P, because before I entered this stream, I got in a trade on the S&P just around basically this price right here, its current price. And I know it's, I guess, counterintuitive with inflation expectations going higher. But you know, we could see a miss. We could also see a beat. But it's not really about fundamentals. It's more so about this choppy market behavior, and price in the past several hours has been kind of forming this uptrend. It's rejecting this trend line that Tom was talking about. And if it closes with that sort of bullish pressure, that I guess pin bar formation, I'd like to take or see it go up to another high above this level in the short term. And then obviously I don't really know where it's going long term right now. The market's very risk off. So this is more so a technical trade. My stop loss is pretty tight. It's just below the rising trend line, and just hoping to see some I guess bullish moves in the recent sort of behavior, but we'll see how that goes.
So another one I want to ask both you guys, I'll go to Tom first and then I'll come back to Frank on, is one pretty interesting chart right now is oil, actually. There's been a lot of fundamental news. A lot of stuff has changed. A lot of, you know, to Frank's point just now, you know, oil can be a confusing one because Frank just mentioned, oh, the world is risk off right now. And so you might say, well, why is oil rocketing higher if there's like recession fears and, you know, the Fed might crack down further? Wouldn't that put pressure on oil? It would in a traditional sense. However, what also is putting pressure to the upside on oil right now is, of course, a major contributor to the oil market, which is the supplying of oil, right? So Saudi Arabia, Russia, the US, major oil creators have the ability to, you know, manipulate the price essentially by letting out or not letting out oil. So right now, there's a lot of kind of like supply, you know, shortages. They're holding back on letting supply out, and that's causing the price of oil to go really, really strong here. So, Tom, could you give us just a little bit of a technical view on U.S. oil? I mean, again, a very green chart here today. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so I want to trade oil. You know, is broken this. This is the weekly chart, and it's broken this key resistance level. Yeah, this was like super duper resistance, and it, you know, finally broke this level. And you can see, you know, the weekly chart is clearly in an uptrend, and I still think we got a nice amount of room to move into up to this area of resistance here, and this would be my higher time frame target. So, and everything's look at the candles, all bullish. Yeah. And if we drop down to the day chart now as well, the only problem for me, this again, this is in an uptrend. Yeah, clearly. The only problem for me is that there's not enough value for me. I pretty much trade on retraces. Retraces give me better risk to reward, better prices to get in on, and better value. If I don't get a retrace with oil, I won't trade it. As pretty much as simple as that. And I won't, don't suffer with FOMO if it carries on flying up. So be it. But what I want to see, guys, is basically a retrace, down to potentially this level or even into this gray zone, maybe back to the moving average 20. But somewhere in here, this may not happen, but that's what I want to see. I want to see a retrace, an area of value, and then we can start taking this back up to that weekly level. So, it's just a question of value for me. But I have had some nice CAD trades off the back of oil. So Canadian dollar strength, obviously, off the back of this oil strength.
Yeah, Tom, keep going for a second with the CAD stuff. What have you been trading on the CAD side?
Okay, so we've traded Canadian dollar Swiss franc today. So obviously, with oil being, with Canada being a big exporter of oil, if the price of oil is high, then this is, good for the Canadian economy. And we've basically been seeing an uptrend. Yeah, so price was coming down into this level, and then it just pretty much did nothing for days, and it found itself in this range. And as soon as it broke out of this range, I was interested in buys. Yeah, it's in an uptrend, and we've got some nice room to move into. We took some trades in here, and took it back up to here. But then we found ourselves at this new level here. But yesterday's candle broke that level. Okay, so as soon as I see this bullish candle in an uptrend, breaking an important area of resistance, and we've got room to move into, there's lots of reasons to like this trade. And like I mentioned before, guys, it was just a simple break retest. How many times do we see this in the market? So, this was the resistance level through here. Yeah. Once price breaks it, comes back, retests, it then becomes very good support. Okay. If I zoom into that, I actually entered on the H1, but you can see we've had a nice H4 candle, and price has just, gone bananas ever since. If we look at the H1 though, I just entered on this candle here, guys. Yeah, I got this candle here into our gray zone, tested this last H1 low. Not very bearish candle, but the wick has just rejected that level. So entered here, stopped down here. The idea is to take price back up to here. So yeah, Canadian Swiss franc going well.
Well, yeah, great trade, Tom. There, that's awesome. And again, fundamentals, you mentioned it for just a second there. Canada, a major exporter of oil, and a rising price of oil will, of course, act to help the currency strength, right? It's kind of like another fundamental kind of comparison is Australia and China. When China slows down, like it has been, the Australian dollar generally takes a beating too, because there's less demand for the currency. There's less strength and solitude in the Australian dollar because of their major relations with China in terms of raw commodities, Chinese, the trade that goes on in the Pacific there. So these things are real. These things are really powerful in the currency world to the demand for an economy's currency. Anyways, I also wanted to come to Frank on oil for a second here. Frank, I pulled this up. This is pretty cool. The EDGEFINDER, as of September 2nd, really September 1st and 2nd, generated some really bullish signals on the historical backtest page. So what this is looking at is it's looking at the EDGEFINDER's score over time. I've got oil pulled up here, and I think this is pretty cool. So what I did is I just marked up on the chart the trading view chart where this +6 and +3 score came into play. And here it is. I love to see this. This is really cool. So the EDGEFINDER was bullish and has remained bullish since that period of time on the EDGEFINDER. So I just thought that was cool, Frank, just to give that as an example. And then also I want to go to, again, we're still, as we speak here, we go to the top setups here. Still very, very bullish on oil in terms of top setups. What do you think right now on oil? And do you think there's a trade to be had somewhere in here?
Yes. So there's also more news on the fundamental side.
Okay.
There's Saudi Arabia and Russia are cutting supply by 1 point something million barrels a day for the rest of the year. So tighter restriction on supply and everything else we've talked about, it's a very obvious long trade in the oil market, and there's nothing the US can really do about it because we take in oil from those places. We don't really drill as much of our own, so we're very heavily reliant on things like that. So I do agree oil is definitely a buy. And the EDGEFINDER caught it early. But, we talked about this earlier where we just want to see a pullback. And I think that's what I want to wait on. But, price just keeps rejecting these short-term lows and coming all the way back up. So it's a tricky buy. I mean, if you want to hold on to it for a while and see where it goes, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to time it right, it's really tricky. So oil is tough.
I would agree, Frank. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like just because it's bullish doesn't mean you jump to conclusions, right? This is, in my opinion, not the spot to buy oil. I think if you're short-term aggressive, maybe you're watching a pullback to like 87.5. And if you're more of a swing trader, maybe you're trying to wait and see if we get back to like 86. Those are levels that I really like personally. And I asked you guys both because I think I am going to keep a close eye on oil for possible trades here in the next few days to next few weeks. Again, that's a really strong catalyst. And what you just said, Frank, is my favorite trades. The obvious trades, those are my favorites, because as much as people think like, oh, it's obvious, so you should sell. Everybody thinks it's a buy, you should sell. That's actually the time I think that you wait for a proper risk reward setup and you go with the obvious strong fundamental catalyst. You don't try and fight the headlines that are going out. You kind of look to play them with a proper risk reward. So I like oil long if we can get a pullback. So I'm glad you guys kind of seem to be on the same page with that as well. I want to also say before we end the show, Tom, thank you very much for coming on as always and contributing to the A1 Trading Show. Tom has his own YouTube channel, and we've dropped a link in the chat here. If you guys have not already subscribed to Simply Forex on YouTube, you can keep up with Tom and get more trade ideas. There's people in the chat who said they like your way of explaining things and they like your voice, Tom. So I can certainly attest it. You have an awesome accent, and I think people really like hearing it. So if you guys want more of the accent, make sure to go subscribe to Tom on his own YouTube
If
channel.
nothing else.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want the accent, that's where you go. Yeah, thanks, Tom, for coming on, and I'm sure we'll see you back next week.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Nick. Cheers, Frank. See ya.
Bye, Tom.
See ya. All right, Frank, and yes, also thank you to you as well for coming on. I really like this oil trade. I'll have to keep an eye on it, but again, I thought it was really cool. The EDGEFINDER has called this one perfectly, so gonna look to see if I can continue to play that, and we'll keep up to date with you inside of the Discord. So thanks for coming on, man.
Yep. Thanks.
See you. All right, guys. Yes, always good to have both those guys, Tom and Frank. Frank, of course, he is one of our analysts here at A1 Trading, but Tom is a guest. And I do also want to say, any guests that we have on, make sure to go support them, go follow them, go subscribe. We're not paying people to come on these shows. We just simply exchange. It's like a collaboration kind of thing. And we really appreciate our guests. So make sure to check them out for more content from them. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the stream. Remember, before we go, let me remind you guys, if you want access to our software, the EDGEFINDER, or if you want access to our Discord channel, please consider clicking the link that's in the chat right now. It will take you to a live chat support center where you can speak to someone on our staff about the details, pricing options, and more details, more questions if you have any about what we offer here as a company at A1 Trading. We offer software tools, we offer community for traders, we offer trade alerts to see what Frank and I and Ivan are doing, and much, much more. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you back tomorrow.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. And if you create a new trading account with ACAP, you can get tools like the EDGEFINDER completely for free. Check the link in the description for more information. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.